Hi, my name is Brant Steck. I am Vice President at BUI, and with me today is Michael Tessler. For those of you who may not know Michael, Michael is the president and owner of BUI, an absolute authority on all things life insurance, so a great person to be talking to at a time like this. Now, before we get into our topic today, there seems to be something a little different about you, Michael. It's different mostly around here. Is that a quarantine beard I see?
Yes, it's a quarantine beard, and just didn't want to be left out of all the quarantine parties.
Yeah, understandable. I got the quarantine haircut for my wife. It was getting pretty light up top, so I think maybe she did me a favor. So it's just the way it goes these days. All right. So last week I interviewed Chris Hooper, and we talked about COVID-19 and its effect on life insurance companies. They're concerned about mortality and underwriting. But is that the biggest concern from an insurance carrier perspective at this point?
Well, most insurance carriers report to us that their concern about mortality from COVID is rather minimal. However, their concern about interest rates is rather significant. We've been talking about the low interest rate environment for a long time, and we've watched for decades now interest rates going down, which is translated to lower interest rates on universal life policies, lower dividends on whole life policies, etc. And all the way through, one of the things that all the insurance companies were hoping for was that there would be an adjustment upward in interest rates and kind of save them from this low interest rate environment. Unfortunately, now we're in an even lower interest rate environment, which is putting intense pressure on the insurance companies as it relates to in-force blocks of business, new business, and we've watched nearly every carrier reduce returns to their policies and or adjust pricing. All of it, of course, not necessarily in favor of the consumer.
Right. So insurance companies feel pressure that translates down to the policy owner. So it's necessary to have policy reviews. But I think a lot of people, when they think policy review, it means I get my statement in the mail. I look and see, did I pay my premium on time? I file it away and I move on till I get the bill next year. What's really needed in a policy review?
Unfortunately, statements and most of the material that insurance companies share is not going to provide the owner with the necessary data to make informed decisions about their policy. A much more comprehensive review is needed. BUI's performance evaluation process digs much deeper than just looking at a statement or looking at an in-force ledger. There's two parts to it that are really important at a time like this. The first one is getting back to the basics where we start nearly every transaction, which is what's the purpose of the insurance? And understanding that helps to guide advisors to adjusting coverage, to changing coverage, and to addressing client needs in a way that is most appropriate based on what they need at this time, which, by the way, may have changed a lot since they bought the policy 15 or 20 years ago. In addition to that, we take a long look at the underwriting. As I said, 15 or 20 years is a long time if you've owned that policy, and health changes certainly may have occurred during that period of time.
Right. So good point in going back to the need for insurance. So much can change in 10 or 15 years. But we're also at a time where people are more concerned than ever about their budgeting. People are feeling it. And life insurance can be viewed as a line item that can sort of be crossed off for the year and move on and readdress it next year. Are the ramifications for just skipping a premium payment? And is there an ability for a policy owner to potentially go through a review and save money without limiting the amount of coverage that they have?
Good questions. And let's start with skipping a premium. Making an uninformed decision and just deciding haphazardly, I'm going to skip making this payment is something we would never advise. The review is what's needed to know whether or not you actually are in a position to skip a premium or change a premium or make a change to a policy. But doing it without the necessary information at hand could have catastrophic implications for a policy in the short and probably more significantly in the long term. As far as saving money goes, I'm to this day amazed at how many times a review is completed and there is an opportunity for a client to spend a lot less money than they were spending before. In addition to that, a lot of advisors are asking us about augmenting existing insurance portfolios, how to do it so that the client gets more coverage. But at this delicate time, doing it in a way where they may be able to save some money. And obviously, term insurance is still extremely low cost. Even with recent rate adjustments due to the low interest environment, it's still a lot of bang for the buck and a great opportunity for many people to add to their portfolio without spending a lot of money.
Good point. And to your point, a lot of needs for life insurance are temporary that fit in very well with term insurance. So to kind
Absolutely.
of bringing it all together, the low interest rate environment, historically low, putting pressure on insurance carriers, which translates to pressure on policy owners. Reviews are absolutely critical, not just for the performance of the plan, but going back to the need for insurance and making sure that the need for insurance and the coverage and the length of the coverage are matching up.
And another good reminder for advisors who are working with their clients on this, the tail from this low interest rate environment is going to be very long. And what's going on in the market right now, for example, saw the 10-year treasury the other day down at 0.6, near a historical low. This kind of stuff is going to take a long time for the insurance companies to pull out of. So reduced returns and lower caps and participation rates and all that sort of thing, not to mention adjustments to pricing and other things, probably going to be with us for a very long time.
Good point. Thank you. Well, thank you, Michael, for joining me. If anyone has questions related to policy review, needing to review a term insurance plan or a permanent insurance plan, contact Michael, myself, or anyone on the BUI marketing team.